Hello and welcome back to Serah's computer sessions. Today I will be taking selection statements, specifically if and if else statements. So let's move on to the video and watch it completely. Now, from the name itself, we can understand that selection statements are those statements that are used in a program to select something. So that something is actually an action or a task that leads us towards the solution of the problem for which we are writing a program. Okay, so what kinds of selections are possible in C programming and how to write them? All of these things we'll discuss here in selection statement sessions. So selection is actually a subcategory that comes under control statements. If you have not watched my introduction on control statements, I request all of you to please go sit and watch it patiently and come to this session. Okay, so selection basically can be categorized into two. One is simple selection statement and the second category is multiple selection statement. So from name itself you can understand that simple selection statements are actually used for simple tasks and multiple selection statements may be a bit more complex. Okay, so moving on to the simple selection statements, there again we have a subcategory. Simple selection statements have two subcategories. One is one-way selection and the other one is two-way selection. Similarly, in multiple category 2, it's further divided into nested selection statements and multi-way selected statements. Just a glimpse on these four here. Okay, so one-way selection statement, from the name you can understand that it just has one particular solution that is combined to form a single task, and our objective when using one-way selection statement will be either to select the task to be performed or not to select the task to be performed. Okay, it's just a one way towards the solution of a problem. Coming to the two-way solution, yes, again from the name you can understand that there will be two different set of tasks that will be present inside the program, and it is up to the programmer to give in inputs and select or choose among the two specified methods or ways inside the program. So the programmer has to select one of the two ways. So that is two-way selection. Okay. So in the one-way selection, we have if statement, and in the two-way selection, we have if-else statement. Now coming on to the nested selection statements, the word nested actually means one particular selection statement coming within another statement. Okay, so it will be any of the selection statements that will be nested again and again, coming again and again within the selection statements, other selection statements itself. So in the nested, we have two different set of selection statements, and they are nested if and if else if. Okay, we will be covering every selection statements in detail, so please don't worry. Now the next is multi-way statements. Multi-way statements, from the name itself, again you can understand that there will be multiple ways of which one can be selected. Okay, so for that we use switch statement. So ultimately we have if statement, we have if else statement, we have nested if statements, we have if else if statements, and we have switch statements. Now today in this video I will be covering the simple selection statements, namely the if statement and the if else statement. So let's move on to one-way decisions using if statement. Okay. Now if statement actually does a particular task. Okay, so if statements are used to decide whether to do a particular task or not to do that task, either do a particular task or do nothing at all. Okay, so this task is actually a set or a block of statements. It can be one single statement, it can be a block of statements. So with that one single statement or the block of statements, we are actually trying to accomplish the solution for which we are writing the program. Okay, so in order to reach to a solution, if we are using if statement, that means we are performing some kind of a selection inside our program. So how can that selection be made? It can be made using a decision making statement, and it can be made actually by deciding on a particular condition. Okay, decision is made upon a particular condition that appears in the program as it comes. Okay, so decision is whether to execute or not to execute a set of upcoming statements or block, and this is based on a result of test expression. I have uploaded a complete video on what text expression is and examples and how to write text expressions, etc. So if you have not watched that, please, I request all of you to go and watch it completely, do the exercise that I've mentioned inside that test expression video, and come back here. Okay, so whatever decisions are taken using if statement is actually using this test expression. Okay, so this test expression is written within the if statement, within the brackets, within the parenthesis, we write the test expression. Okay, so if test expression, we write like this. I hope that you can see the block that just came. I hope that I'm not I'm not blocking your view, so I doubt so. So we write like this: if bracket open, the text expression inside the brackets, and you close the brackets. Okay, so the result of the test expression, it can be either true or false. So depending upon whether it is true or false, we can actually take or select some particular tasks that has to be done inside a program. Okay, so let's see the syntax, how if statements should be written. So if there is only one statement that comes in association with the if statement, you need not put curly braces pair. Okay, so but if you have multiple statements inside your if um, statement, you have to include curly braces, like statement 1, statement 2, like that till statement n. Obviously you have to use a pair of curly braces and group it so that it becomes a block. Okay, so here from this syntax you can understand that we have a text expression inside the if statement, and this text expression will be evaluated when this if statement is encountered by the compiler, and according to the result of the text expression, the program can take an action, or the program can decide on to whether to execute the statements within the if statement or not to execute the statements within written within the if statement. Okay, so let's see the flow chart of if statement. uh, I hope all of you are very well expertised in drawing flowcharts, so you may be understanding what this symbol is, or why is it used in flowcharts. Yes, it is used for decision making. When we have to take a decision, when we have to check a condition, we use this diamond shape. So inside this diamond shape, I'm writing the test expression. considering that this particular diamond shape represents the if statement. Okay, so there may be several other statements that appear above this if statement. Okay, whatever condition that we are giving along with the if statement, whatever text expression we are giving along with this if statement, the values of those text expressions will be generated well before the appearance of this if statement in the program. Okay, then only if statement can be successfully evaluated. So assume that there are a lot or maybe two or three variables which are used to form this text expression, and this expression will be checked in here, and depending upon the result can be either true or false. Now if it is true, something will happen. If it is false, something will happen. Okay, so if it is true, the statement blocks associated with the if statements, or the statement blocks that come within the if statement, the curly braces of the if statement will be executed. If there is only one single statement, I request you, it's better not to put curly braces. If you include curly braces also, it's no problem. Now, if it is false, if the test expression is evaluated to false, what happens? Nothing will happen. This particular statement block will not be executed. Okay. So again, a point. Both these true and false evaluation will reach to a point from where the program will progress as it is. Okay. So even if here you can see that we have two variations of results like true and false. Don't think that this true is one way and false is another way. No, if it is true, we are going to execute the statement. If it is false, we are not going to execute that statement block. So that is why it is called a one way. Okay, I hope that it's clear to you. Now we'll just see a glimpse of a general programming technique when if statement is used. Like we start with void main, we give local declarations, whatever is important or required in this particular program, whichever program you write. And you will have different statements for receiving inputs. You will have statement X, statement Y, some processing statements. And then if you have to use this if statement, you can use it like this: if the test expression. Okay, and inside the if statements, there will be several other statements which will do a particular task or action. So yes, and after this if statement or the if loop, you will have or you may have other statements also, and then the program ends. Okay, so it's just that if your result expression is results in a false, right from statement Y, your program execution control will jump to statement X if this test expression is false. Okay, but if this test expression results in a true value, this statement block will be executed. Okay, now let's move on to an example. So this program is to find, I'm not writing the program, I'm just explaining the flow chart. So to find the largest among three numbers. Okay, suppose the three numbers are A equal to 46, B equal to 79 and C equal to 23. You can give any numbers of your choice. The examples here that you can see is just my choice. Okay, so you may be having, okay, I'll give so and so for the as values for the three numbers, right? So most probably we'll be using integer values. So the data type of these three variables should be int. And if it is like finding the largest among three numbers, yes, in the program it's specified, in the question it's specified that it is 3. So you will need three different variables for storing these three numbers. So that is how here A, B and C came into play. Now to find the largest, we need another variable. I am just giving the variable a name max because in relation to the aim of the program that we have here at hand. So this max variable is actually used to store the largest among the three numbers. Okay, so let's start. Yes, the first step that I am going to do is the first number that I'm entering will be stored in the variable a, right? So that number will be assigned to this new variable max. So that means that I am assuming that my first number is the largest number. Okay, so here in this example, the first number is 46. So 46 will be assigned to the variable max. Here we are actually testing a condition using if statement. Okay, so what actually we are testing? We are testing whether the next number, okay, that is our aim, to find the largest number, right? So once we have taken the first number and we have assigned, or we have assumed that yes, that is the largest number, the next aim should be to check whether the next number is larger than the current largest number. So if the next number is larger, what should we do? We should give the next number as the max. We should assign the next number to the variable max. Only if that next number is greater than the current largest number. As of now, the current largest number is 46. Now we'll check whether, what is the value of B? B is 79, right? B is 79, you can see here. So we are going to check whether B is greater than the value that is stored in the max variable. What is the value that is stored in the max variable? It is 46, right? So we are checking if 79 is greater than 46. Is it greater than 46? Yes, it is greater than 46. So what will happen? We need the largest among the three numbers, right? So if 79 is greater than 46, that means the largest value among the two is 79, right? So what should be the value of max, or what should be the new value of the variable max? It should be the value that is residing in variable B. So B is assigned to max. That means the value that is stored in the variable B will be given or assigned to the variable max. That means the value in the variable max, that is 46, will be overwritten by a new value, and that is 79, because 79 is greater than 46. I hope that you understood. Now the max value, or the variable max, holds 79. Okay. So if it was false, if 79 was not greater than 46, what will happen? Nothing will happen. Okay. What should be the next step that has to be done? We should check for another greater than condition where C is greater than max. Okay, so here what is the value of C? It is 23. So if 23 greater than 79, this is what will be checked at this particular instance. Okay. Excuse me. So is 23 greater than 79? No, 23 is not greater than 79. So what happens? The value of C is 23, right? This 23 is not greater than 79. So that means this test expression has resulted in a false value, right? So it does not execute this particular statement block where the value of C will be assigned to max. There is no need to assign C to max variable because we already have 79 as our max, right? So since 23 is not greater than 79, we don't need to execute this statement. So this particular block will not be executed even though it is present in the flowchart, even though it will be present inside the program, the execution control will not be passed to this particular statement block since we get a false. Okay, so then what happens? Ultimately, we will be having the largest number in our max variable. So that will be printed or displayed as the largest number among the three is max, the variable. Okay, and then the flowchart stops. So I hope that you clearly understood this flowchart and how this if condition is being dealt with. Okay, now let's move on to the two-way decisions using if-else statement. So here in if-else statement, it either do one particular task or do another. Okay, here also we know that you should understand that the task means it will be a set of statements accomplishing a particular action that will ultimately make the program move towards its solution and display the correct result. Okay, so here earlier in the if statement, it was like you check the condition and or the test expression, and if it is true, that statement will be executed. If it was not true, if it was false, nothing will be executed. Okay, but here we have two way. We can either choose to execute one set of tasks or another set of tasks. Okay, so that another set of tasks will be given in association with the else construct of the if else statement. Here we decide which set of upcoming statements or blocks should be executed, either the set A or the set B. So that set A will be coming along with the if, and the set B will be coming along with the else. Okay, so that is why it is called a two-way selection criteria. Okay, here also, yes, this is what I just mentioned, whether to choose the block that comes along with if or to choose the block that comes along with else. Okay, so it's based on a test expression. Again, here it's based on a test expression, and the test expression will be written within the parenthesis after if. Okay, so I hope that you understood this. Again, the block that comes along with this test expression was actually displayed when I taught if also, but I think that got blocked because of my image being displayed there. So here you can see it's written like this. Okay, so the result of the test expression can be either true or false, same as if only, but the only addition that is made in two-way selection, and that is if else, is that we get an extra else construct. Excuse me. Moving on to the syntax. If test expression, we'll get to execute statement 1. But if the test expression, if it is evaluated to false, the control will jump onto the else part of the program and will execute statement 2. Okay, so if multiple statements are present, it will be like this. If test expression is evaluated to true, the statement 1 and statement 2 till statement n will be executed. If test expression is evaluated to false, the else portion will be executed, which may have another set of statements. Okay, so the statement 1 to statement n that you can see here will be doing one particular task and will be giving you another result compared to the else portion. If else portion is the one that is getting executed, another result will be happening. So you will get to understand the if else statement better when you do practical programs. Okay, just studying theory will not be enough. So the flowchart, yes, when you test an expression, you may get a true or a false. So if it is true, one set of statement or statement block will be executed. If it is false, we'll have another statement or statement block that has to be executed. Yes, and the program continues till it ends. Okay. Yes, when you write a program, There will be local declarations, of course, and you'll have statements for receiving inputs. You will have different statements before the if statement appears. As soon as the if statement appears, it will have a test expression along with it, and this text expression will be evaluated. And if it is true, statement P and Q will be executed. If the test expression is false, then the program control will jump to the else portion and statement M and statement N will be executed, followed by the remaining statements of the program. Okay, so I hope that you get to understand the if else properly. Now moving on to an example to check whether a number entered is odd or even. Okay, so here in the program it specified a number, so there should be one variable to store that input number. Okay, and another thing is this number should be checked whether it is odd or even. Okay, so the result that should be displayed should be a printf message or display message saying the number that we have entered is odd, if it is odd. But the number, if it is even, it should display the number that we have entered as even. So let's see. For example, I am taking a number 53. Okay, so that is the input number that I am going to give. We know that 53 is a odd number. So yes, I am taking a variable num and I'm assigning 53 to the variable num. So I hope that you know that this assignment happens in a scanf statement. Scanf %d ampersand num is the statement which assigns this input value to the variable num. Okay, so in order to use num, we have to declare num. Okay, I hope that you know all those basic stuffs. The next thing that I should do is to divide 53 by 2 and find out the remainder. Right, I should find out the remainder. So let's do it. 53 by 2. Yes, we take 5. 2 by 2 into 2 is 4. So we get a remainder 1. We drop 3 down and we get 13. So again 13 is not completely divisible by 2. So 6 into 2 gives us 12. We get a remainder 1. Right. So we get a remainder 1. So that, see, there is a computation going on and you get a value that should be stored, right? So we should have another variable remainder, to store the remainder. So I am naming that variable as rem. Okay, so the remainder 1 actually indicates that 53 is not even, it is odd. So if the remainder was 0, we could say that yes, the number was even. So if the remainder is equal to 0, then 53 is even, right? So how we write the code for this particular condition checking? If rem, because the remainder is stored in the variable rem, if rem equal to 0, printf %d is even. What should appear at the place of %d? It's number, the number itself, right? So where is the number stored? It's stored in the variable num. So that is the reason why I wrote this num here. Okay, %d is even, comma, num. Now, if the remainder is not equal to 0, okay, here we got a remainder 1 and it is not equal to 0. So if we have to accomplish this particular condition, how will we do? We can write an else. Okay, else printf %d is odd and num. Okay, comma num. So whatever other value rem will hold, the control will jump onto the else portion. Only if the rem value is 0, this statement will be executed. Okay, so whatever other values rem will hold for a number that is entered, it will jump onto the else statement and execute the statements that comes in along with the else statement. Okay, so I hope you understood. this example, 53 is an odd number because it is not directly divisible by 2. Okay. So let's see the program. Okay. I don't think that I should explain this anymore because you know how to write. You know the basic structure of the program. If you don't know, yes, again, the structure of the program is explained in detail in my channel. So you can go check for the video and watch it. Okay. So yes, from the last example, that last slide that I showed, you may very well understand why I chose two different variables here. One is num to store the number and one is rem to store the remainder. Okay, so yes, enter the number to be checked. A scanf percentage ampersand num. So here I can enter a number. And after you get the number or the program receives a number, the next step that should be performed is the division by 2. But even though we are actually performing the division, we are actually finding out the remainder, right? So for the finding out the remainder, we need this mod operation, not the division operation. So now mod 2 will be, the value will be transferred onto the variable REM. Again, a check should be made. If REM equal to 0, the number entered is even, else the number entered is odd. You can also give like what you saw in the last slide. Percentage D is even, comma, num. Percentage D is odd, comma, num. You can do the same, do like that also. Okay. So I just wanted to make this simple, and that's the reason why I did so. So this is the program to check whether a number entered is odd or even. It's pretty simple. I hope that there are no doubts in this. Okay, now the one tip that I need to give you here is for beginners. Okay, now when you start writing a program, you may not have a clear idea on how many variables are to be used. Okay, so you are not supposed to sit there and get stressed out because you don't know that. Write the logic on the paper that is provided to you or on the screen in your IDE. Start writing the program. When you write, you will get the idea, yes, I should use a new variable here. Yes, I should have another variable here. When you get that idea, give a name for the variable there. Go back to the local declaration step and add the variable there, thereby declaring the variable. Okay. So please have in mind, if you're a beginner, it's not necessary that you should clearly know how many variables to be used and what names should be given to these variables. But don't worry, start writing the logic. When you write alone, you will understand that there should be, wherever you need values to be stored, you need variables. Okay. So it is through the variables that you actually depict the values in the program. So whenever there is a need to represent a value and you feel that you have no variable declared, use a new variable. Okay, so I hope that you have understood my tip and this class of if and if else statements. Hello, I hope that today's class was fruitful for you. So I've covered if and if else statements, the syntax and how to write it, and what will happen if you include if and if else statements in your program. So in the next class I will be handling multiple selection statements. So if you truly like this class, please like, share and subscribe my channel. So if you have any comments and any doubts, you can feel free to drop in a comment or mail me. So thank you.